Hello, hello. So thanks for introduction. That saved my time. Let's have this timer. So yeah, as mentioned, Leonardas Marozas, working in CUJO AI. So basically, and what we do in CUJO AI is we provide protection, device intelligence, content control solutions for telecoms. And in order for telecoms to protect and enhance experience for their own home users. So currently our market is mainly North America. And today, so very good presentation from Solus and Evaldas before, very interesting. And I'll go a bit different direction and we'll talk more about scam and phishing dynamics in relation to this war that started. So for agenda for today, so basically I'll say a few words about overall scam phishing dynamics, why these things are happening. And then we had two global events from 2020, from start of 2020, that's COVID. That was one, that changed everyone's lives. And then we had war of Ukraine. So these global events, how they correlate with what we see in threat landscape and how they change, how they evolve and overall. So and then for the very end, that's just some common sense. Okay, so what do we do? How to avoid, and if that's possible. So first of all, a bit of personal story that happened last week. So the person that I am very close to, got an SMS from a bank in Lithuania that stated that there is a device that was connected to yada, 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 and here's the link if you want to approve and disapprove. And I think quite a lot of you might have gotten these SMSs in the past, week, couple of weeks, months or something like that. And I want to emphasize that that person is very sort of tech savvy, security aware and cautious and paranoid to some sane level. So that person never had a virus, or at least it was claimed and so on, that's no links are clicked. And at that time, clicked the link and confirmed with this ID system, and bam, 4-digit sum of money is gone from the account. So that's it. That's what happened. It ended, in a good way, because funds were returned back and so on. So that's after a week. But what led to that? So what led to that? Okay, tech savvy, sort of a bit paranoid person who is working, at least to some extent with IT, to click some stupid link that came from an SMS, like from a bank. That never happens. 14-hour workday before, and lots of stress in work, and then in the evening, 10 or 11 p.m., something like that happened. And that's automatically. So, okay, that's what we, after a stressful days and so on at work, spring, summer is nearby, so vacations are nearby, we are all tired after pandemics, after war and so on. And so one more stress trigger. And this is the main thing, so sort of what scammers, what these guys who are setting up these phishing campaigns want, and that's, they want to trigger fear, they want to trigger, some sort of sense of urgency. Is this the correct word? I don't know. So sort of urgency, yeah, so that we need to act quickly in order to avoid some consequences. We might lose money, something painful might happen or something like that. So these are the emotional triggers that leads to, more or less successful, scam and phishing campaigns. Definitely, if there are tens of thousands of SMSs or emails sent or social network posts that are published, and there is a fraction of percent that, let's say that people click on and transfer their funds. So that's already a success from scammer side. And yeah, so this is the background noise that happens all the time currently. So we all getting tons of phishing emails, scam messages, and so on. But there are also, when looking into dynamics, there are also more active sort of spikes in phishing and in scam throughout the year. So, and this is like, usually these are high impact events that might cause this. So what is high impact events? So for example, Christmas is a high impact event because that is related to shopping. Everyone is looking for presents, so that's a perfect chance for scammers to send out discount codes, set up fake shops to lure people and their money or PIIs, precious data, or something else from them. So yeah, festivities and political events. Political events are perfect for collecting data if people want to sign for something or something like that. So collecting people's data. So once again, there are two, let's say, types of this dynamics. One is like happening constantly, and we are used to that already, like passing cars. And the other is seasonal, and that's it. So yeah, next I will talk about COVID. So, and this is like, I kind of remember what slides were there, so on this screen I hope we'll get back. So yeah, COVID pandemic started, let's say, early 2020. And yeah, so overall we monitored what's happening in the internet landscape. So what are the domains being registered? So these were registered in tens of thousands in the first days and weeks of COVID. Some of them became like legit websites. Some of them just expired. Some of them are parked. Some of them definitely became, malicious or illicit or suspicious entities. So, but we basically divided these into four large buckets. So, and that's definitely not a finite division of what we witnessed in relation to COVID-19. So scams, these are like directly related to, give us your data or your money. So these are shops, lotteries, whatever else. Threats to general public are the events that happened in relation to people, for example, moving their offices into their homes and so on, and then hacking perimeter devices, routers, NASs, IP cameras, and so on, became not only trying to exploit home ecosystem, but also in relation to, let's say, to office ecosystem as well. APT is covered by Souls and Devil, so that's national state actor, but this is, and threats to enterprises. So this is not what we analyze in CUJO, so I will stay off from these two. And what we see, so 12 months of data, so almost 50% of all the domains that were visited by millions of users, mainly in North America, so were related to global information and news. So that's all fine. You all know that there were like city level informational websites in relation to COVID, and then there were country level and region level and so on. Information sometimes coming with some sort of bonus, like coin miner or something like that. Then, not quite surprisingly, but almost 10% of domains visited were shops and services. So, once again, returning back to these emotional triggers, shops and services in relation to COVID. One of the examples you can see in here, where you could buy a CD with basically with some music that protects you from corona, that enhances your, I don't know, vibrations of something like that. And yeah, so there were music against corona, there were incense against corona, there were ultralight, like lights where you could flash in your flat and see where corona is and so on. So all kinds of things. You could buy junk. So, and yeah, so you could pay money. This junk was delivered to you. You could get a CD, whether it protects you against COVID or not. So that's a bit of like different case. And 4% were clearly suspicious and malicious domains. So yeah, once again, 12 months of data. And one of them you can see in here. So this is from local tax, governmental institutions. And so impersonating World Health Organization was one of the main popular vectors, and impersonating all kinds of this tax tax-related portals where people could register, give out their data, and then basically lose their data and get nothing else. So in spring, this research, like COVID-related research, was no longer that interesting, and it seemed that it's almost over, and the spring in here, and then the war started. Looking into dynamics, so here you can see in the lower right part, you can see how dynamics changed, where home users visited domains related to charities or overall to Ukraine. So Ukraine charities, Ukraine donations, and so on. So in a couple of days, the volume grew more than 60 times. So it seems that people definitely got very interested in in how they can help people in Ukraine, where they could get not only news, but also where they can donate money. So 40% registered in USA, 10% in Israel, 5% in Canada. So, and from these first days from February, 2 weeks of data, so 20% of user visits were to the websites that were all confirmed governmental organizations and institutions that were approved and that were truly providing charity and donations to Ukraine. So that's one in 5 visits were to truly legitimate entities. So as you can see, such a huge, and 80% was not malicious entities. So this is gray area. And overall, this scam in relation to Ukraine war is a very complex topic, because looking into content of these websites, there is no way, for example, for security, for cybersecurity people and so on, to confirm whether cyclists who support Ukrainian cyclists or charity to save horses in Ukraine, whether it is really reaching the targets, sort of. So this is a very tricky part where definitely I won't answer in here, and I really don't think that anyone can answer in overall. So, but in first weeks there were scams that collected as much as $7 million and more in donations. So one sign is definitely registered domain name in that has Ukraine, donate, help, charity, and war, and so on. This keywords in domain name. And looking now, 4 months already in a war, 40% of these domains visited, they are still not confirmed. So this is still a gray area. So and these charities, these organizations, these are they cannot be confirmed whether money donated to these charities reach the subjects that they should reach. So, and what does it mean then to be a legitimate organization, a charity? So that's that's definitely a registered organization. And in our own country, I suppose, and in Lithuania, we know what are these organizations that do collect money. In other countries, people as well know where to go. And there are suspicious charities and organizations, and they usually push the agenda of very sensitive topics. Very sensitive topics are what? So that's children, that's pets, that's personal stories. So definitely setting up personal stories and donation for a woman that lost her house and family, and that asks for donation into this Bitcoin wallet. So that is emotional background is clear. Bitcoin wallet is definitely a red flag. So, and for for Lithuania. So there was also, well, a handful of domains registered, and these scam campaigns started. Okay, I have 5 minutes. That's cool. So blue, yellow. All of us know what's blue, yellow, and there was blue, orange. So that website lived a couple of days, but nevertheless, it was in there. So how is it different? So we briefly looked into what was visible in COVID situation, and how is it different from war in Ukraine. So first of all, definitely there is nothing to sell in war situation. So you won't set up a shop for, well, basically that's it. So this part is crossed out. So what's left, what's most meaningful is, for scammers, I mean, is, well, charities and donations. One thing, however, is different, that when looking into tens of thousands of domains that were registered in relation to COVID, so scam websites, phishing websites were full-blown portals where you could like see some cool graphs, see some information and so on. In this context, that's not like that. So scammers do not put that much effort anymore to putting a full-blown website or portal with whatever authentication or something like that might attract people. That's not needed. Why that's not needed? Because, well, social networks, that's first and foremost. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So these are the means to spread the message plus personal touch. So like touching pictures of crying children and plus Bitcoin wallet and so on. So others are like emails, so that's usual one. SMS messages, that's not so popular in here, but this has been visible in USA, for example, and so on. So this is one thing that is different. And now what is also interesting when looking into, let's say, into that. So when there is a phishing website, it can be identified, it can be, well, taken down, it can be blocked by third-party security vendors and so on. So that's all cool, that's fine. When we have Twitter messages, when we have emails, when we have SMSs being sent, plus on top of that Bitcoin wallet, where we would have to pay some money to help people. So that's the tricky subject where the control of, let's say, of security and protection is moved a bit to, well, let's say, to Twitter, to content control, to news control, and so on in Twitter. However, each and every one of us definitely can help, should help, and participate in reporting such, fraudsters, scammers, and so on. So a bit controversial thing in the bottom, that not all scam is bad scam, but that's definitely, that's biased, that's not scientific. But as an example, let's say there was a charity that collected money for drones and for weapons for Russian army. So it happened so that after collecting a certain sum of money, drones and equipment was bought to Ukrainian army. So that's, in my view, is a good scam. But that's definitely, that's not a scientific view, but that's I think that's pretty cool. So what to do? That's only one thing, repeated twice. And so supporting countries, confirmed and established organizations. One thing that I told about personal stories and so on. So definitely these are emotional. These are sort of, well, they have this huge impact on people when there are, well, like really personal bad stories. So if we know these people, if we have references, whom to donate and so on, so that's all very good and very fine to donate straight to these people who are in need. But it's also the most exploitable vector out there. So what are red flags? So definitely crypto. Crypto is clearly a red flag when donations should be sent to some crypto wallet and so on. So organizations that that are not known, that are not registered. There is a domain for, I don't know, saving Ukraine for the better world or something like that. So if we are planning to transfer a larger sum of money, so we should just definitely double check whether this organization exists anywhere or not. And yep, and that's basically it. So just keep supporting those sources that are countries confirmed and established organizations. And just, yep, we need to keep doing that. And thanks.